Victoria, thanks for talking to me today.
Thank you so much for having me on. It's a massive pleasure. I'm really excited and it's going to be a really great interview.
Excellent. Right. Let's talk about this one for starters.
Yeah, Essentia.
How did that one go for you?
Wow.
How difficult was that one to put together?
Well, I put that one together. I released that in 2020, so I put it together like years and years ago. Essentia was basically a collection of songs that I had already written that didn't really have anywhere to go. So since it was just a collection of songs that I'd written over the past like 2 or 3 years before the album was released. Um, and a lot of the musical aspects, like I worked with my producer really closely, Lee Bradshaw, and we wrote a lot of those musical aspects together, which was a really, really cool process. It was really collaborative, which made it a lot easier since it was the first record and like we were all kind of like, okay, well, we're just gonna kind of feel around and see what happens. Since it was our first record. And we're really happy with how it came out and all of the reception has been awesome for Essentia. And because we released it during COVID as well, we couldn't tour off the back of it, which made it a little bit more difficult. But that obviously changed a lot of things. But that's where we went on our tour at the end of last year, at the start of this year, because we couldn't tour during like our lockdowns and stuff when it was released. But yeah, overall, like for a first album, we're really happy with how it's being received. And like we couldn't be more grateful with the amount of like love that it's gotten so far. And we hope we can do better as well. Like we can only grow from there. So
very well packaged too, which was I noticed straight away. Very impressively done.
Really? Oh, yeah.
Where was that done?
It was our manager put that together. So I can't even remember. I'm not really involved in all that stuff. But yeah, like I remember we took a lot of time doing all the artwork and getting the booklet right. And we worked with our record label closely to get all of the artwork right inside of the album. So like, yeah, like doing the booklet, doing the photo shoot, because that all adds to the whole like vibe of the album. Like when you pick up a CD, it's really important. I think because I think CDs are still awesome. I still buy CDs all the time rather than just downloading music online. I prefer it. So I think that's why we put so much emphasis on like the booklet has to be right and the cover art has to be right and the CD has to look right and the packaging has to be right too because it's all important.
In this day and age where a lot less people are buying CDs, it is important to give people a reason to buy a CD. So to have it impressively packaged is goes a long way towards that. Look, I'm old. I've got vinyl still in there.
I have vinyls too.
Part of I haven't got anything to play them on anymore, but part of the deal with back in the day, I miss having that big hunk of cardboard in my hand with all the booklets were this big, not this big. So packaging is very important. Right, so that's done. You finally got to tour after a couple of false starts. And then shortly after that, we've got a new album, which we'll talk about in just a moment. So when was all the stuff written for this new album? Was that straight after you got all the gear ready for that?
Well, pretty much. I remember on the day that we released Essentia, like my producer called me. He was like, "Hey, congratulations on the release. We have to start the new album now." So like as soon as Essentia was released, I started writing for the next album. And like I had a lot of meetings about what the concept's gonna be, like what are we gonna do? And then we came up with the idea, a concept album off of the Greek hymn to Demeter, which is a story of Persephone and Hades. And I thought it was a good idea because I've always been interested in the folk stuff, like Celtic folk, and Greek folk, like myths and all that, because that's my heritage. So yeah, once we had the idea, we just ran with it. Like, and during those massive lockdown periods here in Australia, that's when all of the writing was done because we had nothing else to do. So, you know, we were like, oh, let's write a new album. Yeah, since this album was more specific, where we had to write for a story, we had to create all new songs, fresh music. I couldn't take songs that already existed. I had to write specifically for this album, so it all had the same vibe, if that makes sense. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was all done during lockdown. A lot of the pre-production was done during lockdown as well. I remember charting all of the music up on Logic, like using like my little synth keyboard um during the big lockdown, and then like sending it to my producer, and then like we'll have like Zoom meetings about like what we do with the music and how we change it. Like with this album as well, since we couldn't all get together and write, I pretty much wrote all the music myself, and then went with my producer and we did all the string stuff. So it was a bit of a different process from Essentia because the world was different. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Exactly
but
right.
it was all done during lockdown. And then when we came out of lockdown, that's when we recorded and did all the photo
Okay.
shoots.
We're
Yeah.
actually all together as a band used to be in the old days, or still spread out?
Well, the recording, everyone does their recording separately or remotely, or they go into the studio and they record their parts. Like there's no need for us, the way that we work, there's really no need for us all to be there together to record, even though it's really nice. But we just, because since everyone's got massive schedules on their own, we're just like, okay, if you're free, just come and record this day. Like when we do photo shoots and video shoots, obviously we're all together anyway. And I think when we streamed the songs, like when we got the first mixes in, like we were together as well, so we could all hear it and get all our live reactions. But yeah, pretty much everything is done individually up until the photo shoots and the video shoots. Because yeah, everything's written individually. I mean, like this time, I don't know how it's going to work for the newer records. But because of COVID and lockdown, it just made more sense for everyone to do it on their own because we couldn't all get together anyway.
Okay, so the new album Core came out Friday, 2 days ago, from when we recorded this interview. You must have been very excited. You still seem pretty pumped.
Yeah, so excited. Like this album, I feel like I feel a lot more connected to it than I did with Essentia. And like, because bands grow and change over the years. Like the sound of Victoria K has changed so much, and I'm just really happy to share it. I feel, yeah, like I said, a lot more connected to this album than the last one. Maybe because I was more involved in the music writing process, because I was more involved in like creating the artwork and creating the concept. And I think also because it does relate directly back to my culture, and I've managed to put a lot of like those sounds from my childhood, like all the Greek music references in there.
Yeah,
so,
I was going to ask you about that. There's a lot of Greek in there, isn't there? That sort of caught me by surprise when I was listening to it. So tell us all about that.
Yeah, so that's it's not modern Greek, it's ancient Greek. I don't speak ancient Greek at all, so that's not happening. But yeah, we worked with a translator to translate my lyrics to ancient Greek, and then we worked with them. Yeah, so we worked with them really closely in like learning how to read the language and learning how to pronounce words in the language, just so I could get it authentic so I don't butcher it. But yeah, because if I butchered it, that'd be really embarrassing. But it was really good to have that outlet. We also took a lot of reference from the original text of the ancient myth. So like, for example, in Pomegranate, there's the spoken part at the start and in the middle, and that's like read directly from the ancient text. And it adds like another layer of authenticity to the story. So we really wanted to add that in there. And as well as all of like the Greek musical references, we used a lot of we used Greek bagpipes, soubedeleki, which is like a drum, dulcimers. What else do we use? We used, oh wow. But we use a lot of the ancient Greek instruments that aren't really played anymore to like, again, add a different sound and a different layer.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Because of your heritage, did you have any relatives critiquing it thoroughly?
My relatives. Ooh. Well, my grandfather. I was talking to him. I'm like, "Oh, Papu, I speak Greek in this album," and he's like, "Yeah, but can you speak Greek well enough though?" And he like roasted me because I can't speak Greek fluently, and I was like, "Well, I'm sorry, you know." um, but I have my cousin in Greece who speaks ancient, like he studied ancient Greek.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's heard it yet or not. Um, I don't know what she'll think of it. I think she'll really like it, but I don't know if she'll go in like and be like, "Oh, you said this incorrectly."
Yeah. How's the reaction online to the album so far?
Look, we've had a lot of really good reviews, which I'm so happy about. So far, like we managed to chart in France. So we were like, I think 94th on the overall albums in France and 11th on the overall rock and metal albums in France. So that's pretty cool. Um, and a lot of the reviews we've gotten from magazines and like media networks have been good. Like they've really, so far, like what I've gathered is that people really enjoy how it's got those Greek influences because it gives it like a little bit of difference.
Yeah.
Which I'm so glad because that's what I was a little bit nervous about when releasing it. I was like, oh my God, how are people gonna think it's like weird or like not sound like are people gonna think it sounds not right? But yeah, people seem to really like it so far. So I'm really, really happy. It's just I can't even complain. Really,
Good.
really happy with all the reviews so far.
All that Greek singing on there is good. It took me by surprise, I got to tell you. So that's good that it's got a
Yeah.
point of difference. You got to do something different these days to stand out. So well done on that.
Thank you.
Right, having toured so recently in support of Essentia, you've got an album out, a new album out, and how are you touring that? You're coming over here soon, but where else are you playing?
Yeah, we're currently working with Metal Ruse, who we toured Essentia with. We're working on creating a quarter tour. So that's pretty cool. We're planning to do a similar Australian leg to what we did last time, but instead of it all being broken up, because it was over the course of a few months, I think with the Essentia one. We're planning to do it in like 1 or 2 runs. And the only reason it was broken up last time is because of lockdowns and because like people in the band were getting COVID and other bands were getting COVID. We had to cancel shows. So yeah, I think we're planning to do I can't even remember right now. It's all being finalized. Like we are coming to Adelaide on the 29th of October. Um, we're planning to do Whyalla and Broken Hill again, which is some of the towns around there. We're planning to do, I think, Canberra, Sydney, and some of the other bigger cities. And I think we wanted to travel to Perth because we haven't played at Perth before. So yeah, so far, and also we have yeah, it is a long way, but it's worth it.
Yep.
And we also have Melbourne gigs coming up, so that we have in the works, but no dates can be announced yet because not everything is completely finalized. And once it's all finalized, we will be announcing dates and the cities that we're playing in. Another thing that we would love to do, we haven't really fully organized it yet, but it's in our heads. We'd love to take the album overseas, like even to New Zealand, or one place that we'd all collectively love to play is Greece. And we've thought about it, especially with this record because it's so rooted in the Greek heritage. But yeah, as for Australia, we've got pretty much the same tour that we did last time and maybe a few extra towns and cities.
Now, the gig that you're doing in Adelaide on Saturday the 29th at Enigma Bar, and it's Mosh of Origin,
yeah,
Outer Sky, Headbore, and Those Left Behind representing South Australia, and fronting up for Victoria K, Frankenbach, and is that Abriact? Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Aberact, I think. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
Abreact or Aberact. One of them.
It's
Yeah.
spelled Abriact, so I'm going to go with that. So apologies
Yeah.
if I'm wrong. It wasn't my
Go with
fault. I'm
Abriact.
reading off the screen. So that's going to be a hell of a night, that one.
Yeah, I'm so excited because like we've played with Those Left Behind before. Awesome guys, awesome band, and they're just like their crowd engagement is really, really cool. I think just like the whole vibe, because there's a lot of thrash type bands, like really, really hard metal bands, and then you've got we're gonna come out and do our little ethereal stuff. That's symphonic metal. But I reckon like it's a pretty good lineup. Love all the bands from Victoria and the bands from Adelaide. Like I don't even know. They're all amazing. And it's gonna be really cool to play with like so many bands in one night. I've played some festivals before. I played Metal United Down Under, which has I think about 6 bands. But I think this one's gonna be cool. I love how it's called Mosh of Origins as well. Like it's like State of Origin. I love that. It's so smart. But I think the whole concept's really cool, like with Victoria versus Adelaide. I think it's going to be like, yeah, a really, really cool gig. Again, with a lot of the harder bands, like the thrash bands, like compared to us, being out like the only symphonic band. But I think it'll be cool. And there might be a cheeky little duet with Those Left Behind and me. So we'll see what happens.
Oh, that's something to look forward to. Victoria, horns in the camera for me, please. Thank you. Because it's important to be heavy metal about it.
Yes, so true.
Thanks so much for coming on and having a chat about your new album and the upcoming show in Adelaide, the 29th of October at Enigma. Great to talk to you. Good luck with the album, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on. It's been absolutely amazing. And we hope to see you in Adelaide soon.